Good morning. My name is Allison Barnett, and I'm welcoming you all to Season 3, Episode 9 of Mindful Meditations. I'm coming to you live today from Patina Gallery here in beautiful Santa Fe, New Mexico, with special guest Claire Kahn. This is, we've been working with Claire for more than a decade, and each season, usually around the holiday season, we are working with Claire with her tremendous works, bracelets and necklaces, bead crochet with beautiful cylindrical glass beads and gemstones. This year is something different. We have asked her to go to the other side of her studio and to work on things that she truly loves to do, which is going back to her roots as a graphic artist and doing two-dimensional work. So without further ado, I'm going to welcome Claire Kahn to our mindful meditation this morning and really talk about the meditation that she goes into as she creates these beautiful pieces and the relationship between the jewelry and these pieces for the wall. So let me turn the camera. Every time I do this, I see something different. So let me turn it. Here it is. Okay. Hi,
hello.
Claire. Welcome.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you're here with us. Usually we're in your studio.
Oh, it's still great to be here at the gallery.
And it gives us the opportunity to see you and to see you with your pieces. So behind you are 4 fantastic pieces that you did for the wall, pen and ink, and then there's a direct relationship with some of the jewelry. Hopefully this is open. I'm going to have to get a key to unlock that. And then we're going to also talk about this fantastic piece that's on the wall. But let's start, Claire, with what was different for you to come and to look at these, this work two-dimensionally and make this relationship with the jewelry. Can we talk about these wall pieces?
Yes. I'm very grateful when Patina Gallery, when you offered me the opportunity to do this kind of work, because I love doing it and I've done it my whole adult life. The medium is very different. It's acrylic and ink on watercolor paper, and the process is different, where the jewelry is very scripted.
Okay.
I know before I start what's going to happen. Once you get started, you don't change. You don't move off at all from your original idea. So it's very, very specific that way, whereas the wall pieces are improvised the whole way through. I start with a general idea, but then
Let me come in and sort of zoom in while you're talking about it.
in the middle, the whole thing can completely change. And so that's a very different kind of feeling to produce this kind of work.
So this piece is part of your wood grain series.
Yes.
So you have this sort of, I think you call it a running board, is that right?
Well, no, it's just a running bond.
A running bond.
Which is the same as the jewelry, in that, just like a brick wall, if there's a rectangle or a square, the one underneath it is shifted half a square.
Okay.
So it's just like you see in a brick wall, which in the jewelry is a structural thing.
Okay.
Where the beads shift in exactly the same way.
Okay.
And
I want to pull out a necklace, because you made some of the jewelry to have a direct relationship to some of the wall art.
Yes. So in this case, this piece is a series of squares that individually have a little bit of a story or a little bit of their own idea, and then they come together and create something different. It's just like the beads. Individually, they're not perhaps as meaningful as they are when you put them together like a mosaic to create a larger single expression. And for me, that's kind of the definition of pattern. In water, it's jets that in their thousands individually choreographed create a larger single expression. In beadwork, it's the necklace. There's 5,000 beads or so.
If we hold this one up next to it, more than 5,000 beads in a necklace.
So individually they don't mean that much, but when they come together, then the pattern emerges. And here I've sectioned it in these different pattern ideas. There's a chevron. This one is actually called Ali because it's the one named for you.
Thank you, that's so sweet.
This one is Harlequin. And this is twist with 18 karat gold. All these different patterns are here. And then in a few cases I actually add, this is pave diamonds set in silver. Here we have gold charms. So it's kind of a whimsical, slightly, a composition of different patterns together that I don't usually do, but
I love this relationship.
to this.
I mean, I'm looking at these concentric rings here in this circle, and then in the gold charms on the necklace.
Right.
You've got, they're over here on this other side. You've got this relationship of these concentric rings, and that was done intentionally. Yes.
All of it did. And if you look at this piece, for instance, look at this little square. That's, to me, the Jemez Mountains with the moon setting.
It's so zen and so poetic. It's really beautiful.
But so each one of these has its own little idea going, but then together it's a single composition, just like the necklace. And it's all done in black, white, gold, and silver.
Okay, so you've got this watercolor paper, and in some cases, is the paper showing through, or am I looking at white paint?
In some cases the paper will show through, but generally where it's white paint with ink pen drawing over it. I use both a pen and a brush.
Okay, so pen and ink. And then like when I look here, to me, I feel like I see sort of a ghost of a pattern that was underneath it.
Well, at one point, this square was like that square or that square. It was just line, just lots of lines. And I slowly removed the lines with black. So the black becomes the background, and I'm selectively taking imagery away. I'm taking it away.
That's so interesting.
That's the same thing with this. It was all lots of
let's
little
switch places
lines.
because I've got the glare coming in.
Oh, sorry.
No. Let me see if I can get
Yeah,
it
that's better.
Okay.
So see how this is all lots of little lines?
Yes.
At one point that was also.
Okay.
And then it was all silver with lots of black lines, and I slowly started painting in the black, slowly eliminating, creating more and more background, and then added the white acrylic.
Okay.
And the idea on all of these, and included in the jewelry too, is winter, which is kind of like a dark matrix with vivid, saturated color or contrast within that world.
I'm glad you said that, because the title of this exhibition is Saturated, and it in fact opens this evening at 5 p.m. here in the gallery, here in Santa Fe. So if anyone is in Santa Fe, please come down and join us this evening. Claire will be here, and she can talk with you about these pieces. So again, saturated color, but with these wall pieces, with the exception of, let's talk about this one. This one's called Coffers.
Yeah, that's Coffers 1. There's also a Coffers 2.
Okay. Tell us what the inspiration was for this one.
It actually, I love coffers when I see them in architecture. There are these concentric shapes built into a ceiling or a wall to give it strength, like the Pantheon in Rome is all coffered. But and there's a fabulous designed by Harry Weiss subway station in Washington D.C. the Foggy Bottom station, which is all these. It's an amazing place with coffers. But this could be any number of things. It could also be. I'm very inspired by Amish quilts, and there's a quilt pattern called Log Cabin, and so this also might have been somewhat inspired by that. But also, again, it changed a lot throughout the whole making of it. It started one way, and
how did this one start?
It started as all gold and white squares.
Gold, and then you added the color. You added the yellow,
color,
the blue, the red, the orange.
I added the black.
It's fabulous. I love that I can even see your brush strokes with the color and the occasional marking from the pencil that just sort of gives a history to how you started.
And you can sort of see a shadow of the color underneath in some cases, which I love that part. I let the medium kind of has a mind of its own. You need to respect that, and it does its own thing.
Well, it's all about process, really. Layer by layer, piece by piece. And when you talk about starting one way and then adding
Yes, this one, for instance, those very fine gray lines are an ink pen with white ink in it to add a kind of a third color of gray. So,
yes,
and that wasn't intended. That happened. At a certain point, I wanted more texture and more complexity to the piece. So
I love that I can see the tooth of the paper even beneath the ink.
And there's this really wonderful thing that the ink does where it wells up into these little puddles at the end of each line, which gives it a kind of whimsy, a more playful quality that I like a lot.
The little dot. And you have these beautifully framed. It's in a shadow box.
Yeah, they're floating.
So they're floating in the black, this matte
black. It's sort of actually a gunmetal gray.
Yeah, just exquisite. So when you talked about this process here and how you started with silver with the lines, and then you go back in and you add the black. When I turn over here...
Yeah, we're breaking all the rules of the show.
Okay, so we've got this magnificent piece called Topo 3, is that right? Topo 3?
Topo 3, because it's the third one of this kind that I've done.
So how does this one differ from what we've been talking about? I'm going to come in close so everyone can see the detail. This is so phenomenal.
I've always enjoyed cutting paper. Usually I do these paper cuts, which use vellum that's translucent, and so you cut the layers and get this kind of gradation. In this case, I'm actually cutting its rag mounting board, which is 100% cotton board, about 1/16 of an inch thick, and then as I cut away, I create a kind of topography. It's three-dimensional, so shadow and light become very important to this piece, with little white lines and little black lines at the edges, created not by paint, but simply by a change of level. It's sort of like wood grain. It's sort of like an imaginary landscape. I've worked with or for landscape architects, and they always had these beautiful topographical studies and models in their offices, so it's partly inspired by that.
So in some cases, I see these cuts that you've got this concave
like pools,
and then
you're concave,
right, and then you've gone back in and maybe taken what you removed there and added it there,
to make them convex little mounds. So it goes from convex down to concave, little hills and valleys, little pools. But it's again in this matrix, or not matrix, but a kind of grid. This isn't a running bond grid. This is just squares that line up, a grid of squares. And sometimes I break through and create rectangles. That's part of the improvisation, is just looking at the piece and looking at the composition, which is so important when it's such a quiet piece,
I love the relationship of each of the elements, each of the squares or the rectangles, and this continuum. Even here, the way that these lines, I don't know if that was necessarily intentional, but just the continuation of that line.
No, it was very,
that was intentional. Yeah.
And the other thing is, depending on the light in the room or the day, if there's a real raking kind of light at night, then this becomes a very strong piece.
Yes.
It's more subtle if it's just daylight or a quiet light on the surface. So it can get very dramatic if you have a light that's raking across the surface. It's close to the wall or on the ceiling that's close to the piece and washing across the surface more dramatically from the edge.
So this piece, at really, you really preferred not to have it be under glass. You wanted the effect of the light raking over each of the forms. So we have it set back in this gorgeous silver frame, set back, but the paper is exposed. It's archival paper. And so, over time, it will be beautiful.
Yeah, no, this is never going to yellow. Both the adhesive I used and the paper itself is archival. I didn't want to put glass in front of it. It's like a little bit of a bas relief, a sort of sculpture on the wall. The frame is wood on the side, and the silver leaf is on the face. So that's really a nice
Oh,
little
yeah.
detail
Let's
that
look
the
at that
framer
detail.
did for us.
Yeah, very nice detail.
See
Just
how the
exquisite.
side is, it's a blonde
Yes.
wood, and it's fairly deep. About 2 inches, I think, is it? Or 2.5 inches?
Yeah,
I can't remember.
I think it's more. Yeah, it's very deep.
So the piece is set inside, which protects it somewhat.
Yeah.
And
Just
you know, with
exquisite.
it is tactile. It is about being able, to some extent, of course, it's not. You can touch it.
I would touch it with a glove, but I'm so glad you touched it. It would make me nervous, but I feel that way about when we have things in the pieces in the gallery,
Of course,
wood, ceramics.
The work you have is all
It
like
is
that.
all about the tactility, and you want to
Yes.
touch it, you want to feel it, and that's
Exactly.
what we love texture. That's what it's all about. So when I return to this case of jewelry,
Yes.
and we talk about relationships, again, you've got that necklace there. Let's
And I'm
come
wearing
in.
a necklace
Oh, let's
that
see.
sort of
What
goes
did you
with
make?
it.
Yeah.
This one, which is
I'm going to zoom in a little closer.
it's gold and silver, so 18 karat gold and pure silver,
And pure silver.
and then bronzes and
In the coloration of the glass beads.
yeah.
These gray, warm neutrals, I think you call it. This is
Yeah.
very beautiful. And this is a blanket pattern?
It's a blanket pattern. There are sections of pattern that vary as you move across the piece. It makes a nice bracelet, this one. But yes, there's these sections of pattern that vary. So some of it has gold, some of it has less gold, some of it has silver.
Oh.
And it alternates between warm and cool. Cool gray, bronze, whites, lots of different whites. And it goes nicely, with this piece. So
Look at the relationship. But the idea of, I'm looking behind you at these pieces, these little vignettes, these windows, and you kind of create these little windows in these pieces when you move from one pattern to the next.
yeah,
I love how your mind switches over, and
Those go
the
nicely
necklaces, as you
together.
said, are very scripted, and the paintings are more improvisational.
exactly.
But boy, look at that! That's just tremendous. It's so exciting. Yeah, it's very
I've
beautiful.
always wanted to do this, this kind of blending between wall painting, drawing, and the jewelry. And I'm so grateful to you and Ivan, Allison, for giving me this opportunity, because it's really been fun to do.
Oh, I've always wanted to share your two-dimensional works in the gallery. So this is just, look at this, just exquisite, absolutely exquisite. So also in this case are these more colorful pieces,
Yes.
and they have this diamond, or is it Harlequin as well? This,
I don't. It's not really. This bracelet
Yeah.
is Harlequin,
okay. Oh, you've got the cut steel beads.
cut steel and 18
gold.
karat gold, and then there's a white gold and a yellow gold ring or oval that holds the two pieces together.
I can
as
see that a lot of these
bracelet.
pieces are already sold. I can see all these red dots in the case, which is so exciting. You have such a following of wonderful collectors who just get you and get your aesthetic and the quality of this work.
Thank you.
And this is fine
This is
silver.
Yeah, this is fine silver. That's the rope itself, and it merges into glass, black, gray, bronze beads.
So a slow progression.
Slow kind of it's called a twist pattern.
Yeah.
And then
So these colorful pieces,
the colorful guys.
they were making a relationship to this coffer's piece on the
Absolutely.
wall?
This
Yeah.
and this. So these two pieces were done with each other in mind.
Yeah.
And there's a bracelet.
What came first?
The wall piece.
The wall
came
piece
first.
came first.
Yep. This is a bracelet that has two of these. This gentleman named David Freeland does these beautiful inset silver and stone beads, and I use them occasionally in my work. So that's this bracelet, so they go together. See,
It's
And then
remarkable.
this
Really.
all together.
Yeah. Oh, it's so rich. And all three of those pieces are sold. I love it. To different clients. It's fantastic. Well, why don't we move to the back of the gallery and see some of the pieces that are in the standing cases.
Terrific.
So we're going to venture through the gallery and get to see. We have this marvelous space. And for anyone who's not been here before, we have 2,000 square feet of gallery space. And as we come back to Claire's cases here. So again, saturated. We're talking about saturated color.
So these pieces, before I mentioned that everything in the show is sort of in a black matrix. These two pieces were actually inspired by the stained glass windows at Chartres Cathedral that I saw when I was a child for the first time, and their color and saturation of those windows really, I think, stuck with me and is part of the inspiration. So in this case, there's black, but there's also saturated color. It's not light pastel color, it's deep, rich, jewel tone color. That was the objective.
Just beautiful. And you've got a faceted gold bead at every intersection there.
Yeah. Little 18 karat gold nugget.
What a beautiful relationship. And then this piece here, I love the progression of color, the gold to the light blue to the dark blue.
It's also a Harlequin pattern.
So you did more Harlequin.
A little bit more for this show.
I mean, I understand the relationship with the pieces
the piece
for the wall.
on the wall, yeah.
And this one as well.
The bracelet, that has a little stretch of Harlequin, and then the rest is other kind of diamond-shaped pattern.
A double bracelet.
Yeah.
And then you did a series of really rich
garnet.
This is garnet. Let's pull it into the light here.
I've never seen garnet like
Spinel.
this. It reminds me of the garnets I used to see as a kid in Holland, or Bohemian garnet, antique garnet that's got that red, that amazing red. So that's the kind of thing I was interested in for this show. It's very wintry to me, these deep, rich jewels of color like the garnet. And then that piece has also got black spinel in it.
Okay.
And then this piece,
let's see this one.
And they kind of are intended to go together. This piece has got the same garnets with a little gold ball.
Yeah.
And they look nice together.
And these are shorter. These are about 24
short,
inches.
24 inches. They wrap 3 times for a bracelet, but only go once over your head.
Got it.
And then there's this bracelet, which also uses the same garnet group.
Look how rich this is. They're like, I feel like I'm holding textiles. You're making textiles out of beads. Just the blending of all the colors. Okay, so if we come over to the next case, actually, I want to turn. Well, no, let's look at 100 emeralds, because this was one of the first pieces that you made for the exhibition. Talk about saturated color. These emeralds, and I don't know if the light here is really doing them justice, but they are so vibrant, and you've got 100 of these sprinkled throughout this necklace.
100 emeralds. And the necklace, the emeralds go from about 3 millimeters to about 7 or 8 millimeters in size. And so the necklace also progresses. It starts as a very light, solid gold necklace. It then evolves to a deep blue in the pattern.
Yes. So. Send the hearts. That's just gorgeous, Claire. And then this one.
This is holiday lights. It's directly related to those wonderful colored twinkly lights that you see all around the holidays. And we've got them here on the plaza.
Yes, we do.
Very much. And there's a bracelet that goes with that.
Hanging here.
That's just a ruffle of color, of deep jewel tones, from garnet to kyanite, which is the blue,
an
emerald, a little bit of chrome diopside, which is a tourmaline kind of stone, and then the red, which is tourmaline.
Beautiful. And I'm going to turn the camera to myself for a moment. Let me do that, because there's a piece that I'm wearing that's very beautiful. Let's see if you can see it. It has emeralds.
It has a length of emerald, very fine emeralds in 18 karat gold bezels, alternating with little gold balls, and then the rope in that part is green, gold, and black. And then as the necklace continues, it's amethyst and gold as it moves around.
Oh, and I see your color shift in the glass beads from the green to the purple.
Right.
Oh God, Claire.
And there's lots of different greens and different purples together to enrich the piece. But then it also though has a black matrix. It's that same color emerging from black.
Oh.
And that's a very wintry idea for me, the lights coming from the darkness, the illumination and warmth coming from the dark.
Very, very beautiful. Okay. And then let's turn the camera because there's a bracelet
that alternates between faceted emerald and cabochon amethyst set in 18 karat gold.
Gemmy
I
color.
just love that color combination. I always have the green, the purple, and the gold.
So really just stunning gemstones, really saturated color, the deep but really lively purple. They both have a lot of life and light in them, but really saturated. And let's move over to this case here.
Okay.
So you did a series of pieces here. We've got a chevron necklace.
Yes. And it's gold on one side and it goes to blue on the other. A kind of metallic blue and purple.
Oh, I see the blue.
It's quiet, but
iridescent.
it's iridescent. It makes the whole piece look kind of iridescent.
And then that is sold separately, but it does pair, with
this piece, which is using the same colors, yeah.
Let's see if we can hold it under the light. It's kind of hot there.
It's beautiful there.
So these are citrine.
That's citrine. A line of citrine, kite-shaped. Checkerboard faceted beads. Citrine.
Just beautiful. Just beautiful. And when you add the gemstone, it's added to the scripted beads and the pattern.
It's strung with the beads.
It's strung with the beads in place. It's part of the crochet.
Yeah.
And then we move to this gorgeous piece with black spinel.
Yes, it's
and
black.
18 karat.
Yes.
Oh,
real sparkly one. This is a real glittery, sparkly.
this is quite the holiday necklace.
Yes. That black spinel is amazing. How sparkly, glittery, how brilliant it is.
It is so brilliant. Oh, this is magnificent. Look how it's just twinkling and saying, hello, take me out of the case, take me home. It's winking at us.
18 karat gold.
So this piece has a little bit more weight to it because of the density of using all these 18 karat beads and the gemstone beads. So you have over 5,000 beads, right? In a necklace of
a
this
necklace
length?
is between 5,000 and 6,000 beads if it's
my gosh.
43, 44 inches.
Phenomenal.
Depending on the size.
Phenomenal. And then this final case here, really just a beautiful exploration of saturated color. These two found homes immediately. But I love the relationship. What do you call this?
So one of them, the one with the red and yellow, that one, this guy, is called Firelight.
Firelight.
And the one that's all cools, blues, exactly the same pattern and progression, but it's all in blues in the same kind of matrix of brown.
And that's Skylight.
And it's called Skylight.
Oh, yeah. So hi, thank you for saying so. The precision and meticulousness in each piece is fascinating. Yes, I agree with you. Claire is so, her ability to combine these colors and these patterns, it's so rich and it just becomes very poetic and graceful as she transitions color, as she transitions pattern. And I love the versatility of going from such abstract pattern and color as we see in these pieces here to really moving into more serious and regal pieces, blacks and golds and rich citrine. And Claire, you just every time we have an exhibition with you, I'm continually blown away with how articulate you are with color and pattern, and I love that your background as a graphic designer really comes through in this particular exhibition where we've given you the space to present your works on paper and in bead and the relationship between the two. So this has been
much.
Oh my gosh, our total pleasure. So for those of you who are in Santa Fe, please join us. Hello. Please join us tonight here in the gallery at 5 o'clock. We'll be coming to you live in person, so if any of you would like to come out and join us, we'd love to see you here in the gallery at 5. It'll be a beautiful evening in Santa Fe. It's a beautiful day, and I'd love to show these pieces to you in person. If you can't join us in the gallery, please join us online. The exhibition is live, and yes, keep sending your hearts away. And join us online, and this video will be live on it's on Instagram obviously now as you're all watching, but it'll be on all of our social media stations, and we will continue to make this accessible. So it's been great visiting with you, Claire. Thank you so much.
Thank you
again.
so much.
And visiting with all of you. Thank you for everyone who joined us and for commenting and leaving your emojis and your smiles and your hearts. We really appreciate it. Wishing you all a really safe and happy holiday season. Thank you, Jocelyn, for joining us, and we will see you next time on our next episode of Mindful Meditations. Thank you. Bye.